trailers, the fuck Batman guy.
Oh, okay.
You know,
So
like, that's actually Dick Grayson.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So yeah, like that threw me for a loop right there. So I haven't watched the show yet, but I'm like, that's Dick Grayson. He's living up to that name for sure. But I figured that was Jason Todd, and that's why he was being a jerk. But no, it turns out that Jason Todd's even worse. That he's like a hot-headed vigilante who's very violent and like going crazy, and Dick Grayson's trying to rein him in before he takes off as being Nightwing, right? So since the launch of this poll to decide the fate of Jason Todd's Robin and Titans, the DC Universe has received over 17,000 votes.
Wow.
It's pretty good, right? 70% of those votes are currently leaning towards him living.
Talk about flipping the script there.
Yeah,
huh?
I was pretty surprised by that. Two thoughts went through my head. One was like, man, people must really like this actor. Or two, people are like, well, they can't kill Jason Todd because then there'd be no Red Hood. And I'm like, wait, didn't you guys read the actual comic? You have to kill him to do that. So if the poll begins to slope in the opposite direction, which I doubt it, and they do feel like they have to kill him, this may mean that we'll get a Joker variant of some type in this new Titan show.
Man, talk about them boosting those ratings right up, right?
But they'll get Jared Leto, so it's fine.
Oh, look at I like Mark Darden right there. We live in a kinder world. Back in the 80s, they were like, man, have you read Dark Knight Returns or
This Jason Todd guy's such a ween. Let's kill him. I don't know if that's a reference to either Twitter or Fallout 76, though.
Oh,
it's like we live in a kinder world than Twitter does, you know?
I was just gonna say, any of my other player things and the other players they haven't bothered me that much. They've actually been pretty helpful.
I don't know if we should rethink what we're doing, though. That the fact that 3 stories we read could all relate to Mark's comment, though.
This is true. This is true.
Maybe we're reading too much hate speech. But anyways, you can cast your vote now and watch Titans on DC Universe and Netflix to learn the fate of Jason Todd, the second Robin.
Awesome, man. I'm going to definitely get on there and cast my vote.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I think it's time for some local love, man. And we got some news coming from our good buddies over there at Morbid Movies.
You got it, man. Tell them all about it.
Oh, man. We have this upcoming Friday, Morbid Movies presents Chopping Mall from 1986, where shopping cost you an arm and a leg. A special one-time screening of Chopping Mall on Black Friday. There you go. So what a great time to have this this movie at the Movies of Lake Worth. Tickets are $10 and will be available at the theater box office the day of the screening and online. Just a note, I guess they had to deal with this last year, of course, being around Halloween. No mask or prop weapons, please.
Gotcha. Well, dude, Mark Darden's clarifying. He says he's talking about Robin.
So, okay.
Now,
So
this does make me think, though. If these are TV audiences calling in, there's a very good possibility that this is a lot of young girls watching this show who like Titans. And they're like, don't kill that cute kid. Now, I'm not a good judge of what kid on this show is cute or not.
I just have to say the fact that 17,000 people are actually watching that show, I think is like a benefit for that network.
That's mean, man.
I'm just saying.
Even garbage shows get like 100,000 people.
I'm just saying, like when I watched that trailer, I mean, it might be a great show. When I watched that trailer, I was like,
nope,
I don't need to see that.
Well, okay, when you think 300 million Americans, but even the highest rated shows are only like 30 or 35 million views a week.
Sure.
That 17,000 is not fantastic, but
it's also on
good.
a streaming service though.
Yeah.
So those are 17,000 people that are paying for the DC $5.
No doubt.
thing.
Yeah, I noticed the article I read said that you could watch it on Netflix. I don't know about that. Maybe when it's over or something.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, I'll check it out then.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the thing. It's like it's not that I don't want to support DC's because I mean I think it's great that they got all the Batman the animated series on there and all the Justice Leagues and all these other shows, but it's just another streaming service,
But like our old complaint was like, we'll buy a cable package, get 5,000 channels we don't want. Now they're like, okay, fine, then pick the channel you want. All of them cost $10 a piece, and you're like, whoa, wait, that's not good either. Can't you guys bundle some of these together? And I know cable companies are like, what do you want from us, man?
I know. There's no pleasing you.
Exactly. So,
all right, we got some headlines coming.
We do. We got some headlines, man. The rapid fire segment of the show where we dole out just the headlines of the coolest and hottest things that you're probably going to want to look up and find actual reporting on. First up, Fallout 76 players launched so many nukes at once that they crashed a server online.
I think this is a great story. Like, I think this is, while we were talking all that stuff where it's kind of like, man, it's a little rocky, I think this is actually pretty fun.
It is. When you think about the cooperation that had to go down to pull this off,
yes.
like, that's pretty cool, man. But, again, it was a bunch of people doing something pretty awful to a bunch of other people and then crashing a whole server over it. So it's kind of like, that's the internet.
Yep. And this was actually done by the group that first launched a nuke in the game. And they've also launched it on an area where they found the Queen Scorch Beast, which is like pretty much the end game monster.
Yeah.
So it's
I guess that was the thought behind it, was they thought if one nuke spawned the Scorch Queen, could 3 of them spawn a bigger one? Like, was that dynamic in the game? So you could see, like, that's a real screenshot from the game. You could see how close they tried to get them to kind of all envelop each other. So it sounds like there's some wild stuff going on out there. Feel free to check that story out, guys. Sounds like a lot of fun. Next up, this NASA image about 1.6 billion light years from Earth shows 2 clusters of galaxies that are merging in Abel 1033. And they say that it looks suspiciously like the USS Enterprise.
Oh, I see it. I see it. Where's Justin K? Where's Party Man Will out there? We need confirmation.
Where's LaForge? Where's our little LaForge guy we used to have out here?
Oh,
he's probably out there at Able 1033. That's what I think. So it seems pretty interesting, man. I mean, I see it a little bit. It's definitely Enterprise D, right? It's like the next-gen Enterprise.
Yes.
So because the nacelles would be very close to the bottom, and it's got very saucer section. But then what's the other thing here? What is this supposed to be?
That's the crystalline entity.
I don't know. It looks like a peace sign. Oh, maybe they're doing the Spock hand.
Oh, there you go.
The Spock hand over there. The Vulcan salute.
There you go, man. Look at NASA finding, the Federation.
More news from the DC front. Shows an Elseworlds promo for Supergirl came out this week, where Alex locks up Supergirl in a latest trailer. Right now, this is a teaser among teasers. It's about like 12 seconds long, but you can catch it online. It shows Alex with long hair, and you can kind of tell from this photo, Supergirl's actually in Flash's containment thing.
Oh,
at Star Labs.
Yeah, at Star Labs.
Yeah, and she locks her in there, telling her, "You're the worst kind of bad guy." And she's like, "But I'm your sister." Dun, 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 and they close her off in there. So, man, I got some stuff going down in the Elseworlds over there.
They definitely have some wife swapping going on from what I've seen in those commercials. Like, this Elseworlds story is going to get pretty crazy.
Oh, my gosh. Aurelia just crushed it down here. NASA. We made a huge discovery. Internet nerds. It's Star Trek. Oh, my God.
No, that's definitely the power hour of love, man. Definitely. That's
how it goes, man.
You know it.
All right. Last but not least, we got a little bit more comic book news coming from the Marvel front as Chloe Bennett offers a sneak peek at Daisy's look in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6, which unfortunately won't debut until after Avengers 4 completes.
Wow, so all the way into the summertime?
Yeah, it sounds like it, man.
Man, that's quite a wait.
It's gonna. Now, I don't know if I'm just misreading that, if they meant the first half, so it's over, but this story's brand new. I mean,
sure.
So it sounds like you got to
right.
wait till the other half. But you see here, she's got this purple highlights in her hair down there. It's like very blonde that it didn't used to be. She's got a new suit with gauntlets. So it's got a lot of people pretty excited. They've also confirmed that ABC will produce a 7th season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's on lock, in the bag, deals done. So pretty awesome.
Well, that's cool, man, because I know we've talked about before that the stories have buzzed around that this show is kind of teeter-tottering, but it definitely has its fan base, and I think it's really cool that how it integrates, in the stuff from the movies. Like whenever a movie happens, like they'll have some corresponding thing that happens during the show. So
no doubt. And I know that the VFX team that works on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and this may have been a driving force for them getting renewed so easily here for the 7th season, they actually won some heavy-duty technical achievement awards that normally go to Game of Thrones every year because they've both been on the air at
finally
the same
it's
time,
out of the pen.
Well, get this, like not the VFX company, but the award committee created a category that would exclude shows like HBO,
Oh,
whose budget was like 10 times what a normal TV show was.
I got
So basically what they said was that the category would be a show that consists of more than 13 episodes.
Okay.
So that their budget would have to get spread thinner. And they were like, boom, a lock for that. So
awesome, man. Well, definitely we'll have to see how that transpires. I mean, if you're talking summertime, man, I don't know if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting extra ballsy because they're like, yeah, we could take on Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
it's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, they're like, we won the same VFX award. You guys can't take us. But yeah, Quake is shaking things up out there. I see Eric G says maybe she'll take down Thanos. You never know, man. She got pretty massively powerful at the end of the last season. It really looked like they were leading into Thanos' arrival. It turned out to be something kind of else. So we'll have to see how that story all wraps up because, like you said, they do a wonderful job of kind of combining the two feature films and their TV universes. So it'll be great. You know, I'm very stoked to see it, even if I got to wait till next summer, man. I'm a big fan of the show. If you haven't checked it out, it's on Netflix and stuff like that. It's on Hulu. You can go check it out, guys. Super great show. Big recommendations on that. I got to give a wicked shout out to Mark Darden, who's referencing the Elseworlds story in the comment you made.
What's he have to say?
He said they went to other worlds just to hook up. That's so low.
Probably it's like, come on, Iris, that was on Earth too, baby.
It doesn't count, man.
Doesn't count.
Just ask. Well, you know what? You said you're still working your way through Star Trek Deep Space Nine, but they definitely have some mirror universe shenanigans going on out there.
Oh, man. If I wasn't already enticed to watch it, you know, I'm going to watch it now.
No doubt, man. All right, well, let's jump back into the main studio there, and let's talk about some awesome Stan Lee cameos.
Let's do it.
And, yep, we'll see you there.
Oh, man, thank you guys so much for hanging out late with us, man. We're in the after hours, but we got so much great stuff to talk about. Stan the Man.
No doubt, guys. So we all know that Stan Lee is like the king of cameos when it comes to showing up in his own movies. I mean, Alfred Hitchcock used to do this back in the day, you know, and so many other directors and stuff used to do it. But Stan Lee making his cameo appearances in different films has actually earned him a very unique honor among actors. We've discussed it on the show before, but I figure I'll throw it out to all you people.
Do it. Let him have it.
One more time, right? The thing is that in Hollywood, they have a rating, right? Now, this rating goes to a lot of A-list actors, say a Brad Pitt. And the theory goes that if you hire Brad Pitt and put him in your movie, the odds of your movie making more than $30 or $100 million will go up by a certain percent. So they call that the worth of an actor, you know? So different people like a George Clooney or something like that, when they show up to your film, they're making it worthwhile. They will put butts in the seats just because they're in the movie. Well, they rate this, of course, by taking the average of all the films you've been in, right? And then dividing that by your number of appearances and box office gross and a bunch of other mathematical stuff to basically say the average movie that you're in makes X amount of money. So, of course, this honor goes solely to Stan Lee, who encompasses being in every single Marvel movie, right?
Yep.
Which all make crazy tons of money, making him the most valuable actor to have appeared in a film.
You know, and like you said, man, we're not just saying like the MCU movies. I mean, even Deadpool and some of those other, you know, X-Men movies.
The Fox movies.
Yep, Fox, he pops up in
Sony
there too.
with Spider-Man films.
Yep, yes. I mean, he is just all over the board, man.
He was in the Teen Titans Go cartoon movie that came out this summer. So.
And that was a very fun cameo. Like, I think I watched that movie with the kids right after Stan passed, and it was just very nice to see him. And of course it sounded like him. So at the in the credits, I'm like, and it was him. It was him who voiced himself. So.
Yeah, no, and it's funny too because you mentioned his voice. Like he did so many narrations on the original cartoons they did in the 60s and 70s.
True believers.
Yeah. Like I recognize his voice. He had a voice for radio too. He had a beautiful voice, you know. So no doubt he lent his fun voice and his cool acting ability and his charismatic, humble personality to the silver screen. And we wanted to share with you guys what our top three, each of us, our top three cameos that Stan Lee did. If you have some favorites, I see people already throwing them down in the comments. Feel free to throw them down there, and we'll try to talk and hit as many of them as we can. I'm going to go ahead and go first.
Do it, man. Fire it off.
All right, so first up, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Season 1, Episode 13. Stan Lee makes his appearance as Coulson has just given Simmons her first opportunity to be an undercover agent. And she is running with it in a way that Coulson didn't expect, where she's telling him, like, you're such a bad father and you let us down and you're always cheating on mom with all these prostitutes and stuff. And he's like, whoa, wait, what's going on? Because this whole cabin full of people on a train car they're in suddenly think he's a scumbag. And he's like, well, that's not part of it. Plus, you're making like a huge scene. But Coulson's just frozen, like he can't believe Simmons is flying off the handle like this. And Stanley happens to walk by with these two gorgeous girls in tow, like they're walking with him.
Yes.
And he looks at Simmons and is like, I'm so sorry that you have to deal with this guy. And he looks at Coulson and he's like, this is your chance to try to do better. And he just walks away. And I'm like, dude, for him to show up and just burn Coulson, you're like, that's awesome.
Absolutely, man. And like you said, that was another thing that's fun, are these random cameos, not just by Stan, but other MCU individuals popping up in episodes. So
yeah,
got to keep an eye out.
All right, next up here, we got the Avengers, man. It's like my favorite movie of all time, and his cameo in this is fantastic. He's sitting in the park here, and they're just showing him in a newsreel at the very end of the movie. And they're interviewing people about what they think of the Avengers and the attack on New York. And he turns around while playing chess, and he's like, superheroes in New York? Give me a break.
It was. If you blink, you'll miss it. But if you're paying attention, you'll definitely catch it. It was really cool.
Yeah, and what's funny is there's actually an extended deleted scene where Captain America is actually sitting nearby, you know, but he's not in uniform or anything. He's just Steve Rogers. And he's talking to that waitress. I believe this happens earlier in the film. And it's why she's so prominently featured towards the end. You remember the blonde lady that keeps cutting to?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like, and then his mask gets ripped off, and she's like, oh my gosh. It's because she had been serving him earlier that day and was kind of flirting with him. But he didn't know how to flirt with someone in this time. He hadn't really acclimated yet, so he wasn't really picking up the girl's signals, and she ends up walking away. And Stan Lee turns around and tells him, ask her for a number, you idiot.
I'll have to check that out.
It is.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Well, I realized I missed my first slide. I think I left it out somehow in there. But I did want to mention one other one that I'm a big fan of is the Deadpool 2 trailer that they had, where it's the Superman parody where Deadpool's trying to get into a phone booth and put his costume on real quick, and then, you know, there's like a mugging going on, and he jumps out of the phone booth, and Stan Lee's there, and he's like, hey, nice suit, and he's just like, zip it, Stan Lee.
I mean, that really, do you remember that was right before Logan?
Yes.
That's where that debuted.
Yes.
What a way to kick that movie off. Wow, and that another great film. I don't know if Stan shows up in the actual Logan film. I don't remember that if he did or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that
but
one.
Definitely, like you said, where he's at that little beginning teaser with Deadpool. That was pretty awesome.
Now, I know there are a few Marvel films that he hadn't appeared in. I think X-Men 2, X-Men First Class, because these were filmed in places he couldn't get to. They were like in Australia or some part of Canada that he was like, I can't get out there for that. Yeah, it's just conflict, you know. But for the most part, he's does so many great cameos. It was very hard to narrow it down to just 3 apiece, but we figured we didn't want to take up everyone's time tonight. Conan wants to know if Stan Lee did a cameo in a Superman animated series as Detective Turpins, because it looks a lot like him. I'm not familiar with that. I don't know.
I think I've seen the still that he's referring to. There's a guy in there that looks a lot like Stan Lee, just the general look. We'll have to get back to you on that, Conan, and we'll fact check that and definitely answer that next week.
No doubt. And yes, Eric G., he is in the first X-Men movie. He's eating a hot dog on the beach when Senator Kelly comes out of the water and he's naked.
Yeah.
And he is, Aurelia says he's in X-Men The Last Stand, but I don't remember what his cameo was.
Yes, that was the one we were talking about where he's watering his lawn.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I didn't connect The Last Stand with the third movie. That's
I know
my
it's
brain at,
well, no, it's that third movie where there's so many things in that you want to forget.
Yeah.
But that was a
he's
good
watering
part.
the lawn, and the water floats up because Jean is being all cray. Yeah. So, and he's also in another X-Men movie that's on our list. So we'll get back to it in a minute.
Yes.
All right. I think we're gonna dive into yours. Let's see what we got.
Oh man, yes,
Excelsior.
Yes, Avengers: Age of Ultron, when he's playing a veteran who Thor's sitting there talking about a drink that he has from Asgard. And, Stan's pretty much like, we could take that, man. Give it to me, Blondie. Yeah. And the next scene cuts so well to them kind of carrying Stan out of there drunk. And the Excelsior, So I just thought it was so cute and cool, and there's an even... cooler thing behind this that Stan actually was a World War II veteran.
Absolutely. Yep. I know we've discussed that before on the show, and he was part of the Signal Corps.
Yes. He joined in late 1942, and his period went all the way to 1945. So he was definitely in the shit, as they like to. And, he, like you said, he was repairing a lot of communications. Yeah. And he kind of moved on as the war started to die down, and he went on to doing like training videos and even writing manuals. Yeah. So and doing cartoons. So it's kind of cool where it kind of went from being a repairman to coming back. But he did do that issue of Captain America before he left for the war. So it's kind of nice that he got to come back and pick things back up later on.
Oh, no doubt, man. And it's awesome to see that they kind of paid tribute to him as being a World War II vet. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. And it's real funny because I got to tell you, Bandito, before the show tonight, when I put this one on my list, I knew he was playing a veteran, but I guess I just hadn't put the pieces together to knowing that he actually was a World War II vet. So, yeah man, that's just so cool.
And how fitting that he worked in communication, considering he told stories the whole rest of his life.
There you go, man. Sometimes you just fall right into your place.
No doubt, man. All right, so next up, what do you got here?
Oh, man, I know this isn't, a lot of people's favorite movie. It was definitely better than that one from, 2015. But in the 2005 Fantastic Four, he actually plays a comic book character.
Yes.
Which I think this is maybe the only time.
It might be one of the only times, because I think... technically who he is in the second Guardians movie at the end when he's
he's in the space
to the Watchers.
suit.
I think that's kind of based on a real character.
I guess we'd have to check the one at Thor Ragnarok too, where he's playing that haircutting guy.
The barber, the space barber.
But in Fantastic Four 2005, he plays Willie Lumpkin, who is the Fantastic Four's mailman. He delivers mail to the Baxter building.
who was a very prominent character in the early years of the book.
Yes, absolutely, man. And I just think that's so cool that he actually got a chance to play a character he created.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And what's funny is one of his earliest cameos was in Spider-Man 2002.
Yes.
2002 Spider-Man. And in it, because he had already been in X-Men that came out 2 years earlier, the actual original scene he's in is him selling the sunglasses that Cyclops wears.
Oh, okay,
and he's shouting, they're just like the ones in the X-Men movie, But at the last minute, they felt like it was too meta, so they cut that part out of the film and just saved a part from several minutes later where he saves a little girl.
Yes.
So, getting to kind of be a hero in his own right was even better than being kind of a cheesy meta line, so I like that cut.
I did look it up earlier to find out what was his first ever Marvel cameo.
Yeah.
And it was actually in the TV movie The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, starring Lou Ferrigno in 1989. He actually
was that the one that Thor was in?
Daredevil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was Incredible Hulk Returns is the one with Thor, but
gotcha.
I should say Matt Murdock is in the he's Bruce Banner's attorney, but Stan plays the head juror in there, so it's kind
guilty.
Of absolutely. All right, let me get to my number one real quick.
All right, let's check it out.
Spoiler alert! It was popping up earlier. Go ahead. Oh man, Mallrats. I get it earlier in the comments. Hopefully, Mark Darden and Eric G are still hanging around. We know that critically, this movie didn't do very well. But I got to be honest, I saw this before I ever saw Clerks, and I really liked this movie. I saw it on VHS.
This is one of my favorite movies.
I know.
This movie's fantastic.
I love it.
I think Yondu's great in it.
There you go. But in this movie, Stan plays himself. He's actually at the mall doing a signing, and he plays a very critical role in the end story, which I thought was cool.
And what's really cool about it, what I think makes it a great number one pick, is the fact that he's inspiring someone through his work, and he's explaining it to them, yet he's incredibly humble about it. Even, when Brody's like geeking out on him.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah.
So, like, is the
cool.
things thing, like, even rock? And he's like, we never thought about that. Look at those two. They're in love over there. And it just, it seemed like it was so authentically Stan.
Yeah.
I mean, from us seeing him at MegaCon, and I mean, when you see him in this movie, you're like, man, Stan don't look that old right there, but then you remember, that's all, that's 23 years ago now, so, woo. But definitely Kevin Smith being a huge fan of comics, being a comic author himself, definitely it was so awesome for him to get Stan to come into the movie. And we do know, even with Stan in this movie, he couldn't save it, but it didn't stop Kevin Smith, though.
It's still a cult classic, man.
Oh, yeah.
And it did. This is the movie that got Dogma made, and Dogma was, again, not a super huge hit, but led to the next film that led to the next film. It's why Kevin Smith's a household name,
You know it, man.
I mean, I think if he'd have made Clerks and never made anything else, we'd probably all still know who he was, but regardless, it's great to have all these other fun movies that help propel the careers of Ben Affleck's, Jason Lee's, Michael Rooker's. I mean, all these people cut their teeth in this little indie film with him. So it's awesome.
It, man. Yeah, and I know somebody said at the Daytona Beach Comic-Con, do not watch colored Clerks because they said it sucks. It needs to be black and white.
Yeah. All right. Well, we do have one honorable mention for our list here that we were saving. And, Eric G. Here you go, man. X-Men. Did I leave that? Man, we're missing all sorts of clips tonight. That's a bummer, dude.
Because that was a great clip. Well, go ahead and explain it to him, man. Let him know what's up.
I bet I could put that clip in there.
Can you do it?
Yeah, I bet I could put that clip in there because it's worth it.
Legion of Love, you guys are hanging out with us late. Just give us a quick minute. Bandito's going to go find this clip real quick. It was really good, and we definitely wanted to throw it down so you guys could check it out, and it's got a cool story behind it. So, we just, got a lot of love for Stan Lee, and we want to make sure we do. We send them off with the Legion of Love style. But man, it was like I said, Mallrats, the Avenger film, all Spider-Man, like he pops up in all of them. Even like we said, even in Daredevil, with Ben Affleck, we were just talking about Affleck, and he stops. He stops Stan. He's a kid. Matt Murdock's a child, and he stops Stan Lee from walking out into traffic. So I always liked that one. And honestly, I know that movie gets a lot of hate. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the new Daredevil stomps it. But when it came out, I didn't completely think it was terrible. And
sure.
I guess there's like an extended version that has Coolio in it and this whole like sub story. I gotta check that out. Just
Coolio's in it. What?
No joke, man. It adds like 45 minutes to the movie, and this whole story that Coolio's getting charged with something that like he didn't do, and like Matt Murdock and Foggy, Jon Favreau in that film are trying to help him get innocent. Like they're trying to get that verdict for him. So it was. I've never seen it, but I've heard a lot about it. So we should definitely check that out sometime.
Yeah, it sounds pretty crazy, man. I would definitely love to see Coolio in a Marvel film.
I know, yeah.
Sounds like a great fit.
I mean, it's funny because I think that movie gets so much because it's like the Marvel movies of the 90s, like the Captain America and the original Fantastic Four, like the 1994, where it's like Daredevil. So in some parts it seems so corny, but I really liked a lot of the actors. Like I liked the guy who played Ben Woolrich. Mm-hmm. Michael Clark Duncan. I think physically, like that guy is the Kingpin. I mean, just his size.
Yeah.
Like when you see him, I mean, don't get me wrong. Much love to Vincent D'Onofrio, man. That guy, like,
oh yeah,
yeah, he is just fantastic. But I mean, Michael Clark Duncan's size, like when you see pictures of the Kingpin, you're like, I see why they chose him.
No doubt. Okay, I think we've got our slide in here now. So thanks for stalling for a little bit with some
interference,
some Daredevil talk. I'm sure you scared away a ton of people. But
they're like, "What, Daredevil 2004? Oh no, or 2003?"
I know. It's worth mentioning that Stan Lee does cameo in all of the Netflix series, though.
Yes.
So you have to be a real eagle-eyed viewer because he's never appeared live and in person, but he is typically photos on the wall somewhere in the background. He's on the side of a bus, hanging in a patisserie window somewhere out there. You'll spot him if you're looking around. Jessica Jones, your Luke Cage, Iron Fist, all that stuff. He's hanging around. So rewatch those shows. Check out some hidden Stan Lee appearances there, and I'm sure we'll continue to see those here in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but last but not least here, we did want to mention this. I still don't have a slide. Hold on. Wait, it's coming. Hang on.
Stan's like, you're not
Here we go.
Here we go.
This is from X-Men Apocalypse. So, what is that, the last of the X-Men movies they just made?
Yeah. Yeah, because
right?
because Days of Future Past came before, and then Apocalypse, and now Dark Phoenix is coming next.
So this is one of the few cameos Stan Lee did that was very dramatic. You know, it's during the climax of the film, so he's definitely very frightened, and he's holding on to this woman here, who we found out was actually his, now late wife, Joan Lee, who was there with him. So
and yeah, that I think is so cool, man, because you could tell that she was an inspiration behind him doing all the things that he did. And I know their daughter has come out and said, that he was a man of his fans. Like, like that was his most important thing, was what his fans would think, and he wanted to always keep them happy. And it's just so nice to see him with his wife here, who passed away last year. So definitely,
it's awesome to see them immortalized together. Like, what a cool way to have an appearance with the two of them. It's kind of like in this dramatic moment, but they show how in his glasses you could see all the crazy, stuff going on, reflection in his sunglasses. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out for a few extra minutes. I can tell from the comments that you guys actually also think that was worth it to hang around for and check out that last cameo there that we wanted to throw in, and just give a shout out to Stan Lee and to his lovely wife there who's hanging out with. So
it, man. No, so good. And like you said, when we met or when we saw him at MegaCon, he seemed like a great guy, and I'm just glad if he was in any pain, now that he's over that, and he rest in peace, Stan.
Oh, absolutely, man. So the guy was a legend, an inspiration, and his legacy will carry on here for years and years to come. So, I'm super sorry to see him gone, but happy to have what he left behind, because it really has touched my life and the life of the people that I know so much that you almost can't thank him for the contributions he made. And to the world that he's helped create and inspire. So thank you to him, to his family, for carrying on and doing what they do, and being his kind of backbone and everything like that. To all the wonderful fans that we've met over the years who've been fans of Stan Lee. Like, it's just been great getting to connect with everyone, all because of him. So
it, man. And like you said, it's just great, though, that he gets to live on forever with the comics that he made, with the movie appearances, and just everything, man. The stories that were told, and now it's just great that amazing artists and story writers are out there continuing the legacy of Stan Lee and Marvel and DC and all the other comics, and of course our love for indie advocates and all those great guys. People, I think everyone would say that Stan Lee had some sort of an influence, no matter how big or small, but just in the work that he's produced. So, thank you, Stan. If there's one thing you could say, not just one thing. I know we're thankful for a lot of things, but we're definitely thankful for Stan Lee.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. There's some love for Stan Lee. We want to send you guys the best. We hope you guys have an exciting and interesting week. We will be back next Monday with some more exciting action. We're getting close to wrapping up the year. We usually take a winter break the first or second week of the year. We haven't really decided yet. So we've only got a few more episodes left in us, but we thank you guys for coming out and joining us today and honoring Stan Lee and remembering him. Thank you for sharing your stories with us. We hope you all have a wonderful evening.
Yeah.